For most of our horse for the course features, we pick a bike specifically for an event, with a close eye on the components and certainly the tires we believe best suited for the task at hand. For the Monster, my selection process consisted of just asking a coworker, "Hey man, can I borrow a bike?" I live in Colorado in the States, but came to the UK to visit BikeRadar's home office in Bristol after following the Tour de France for a few days. When I borrowed the bike, I hadn't even heard of the Monster, and was just planning on riding around Bristol. My coworker handed me this Cervélo S3, which has Shimano Ultegra 11-speed with a 52-36 rotor crank, a 3T cockpit, and some skinny Mavic clinchers on Mavic Elite wheels with an 1125 cassette. 3 days later, now I'm in Wales for the first time in my life. While many UK Sportives draw thousands of riders, event organizer Matt Page capped the Monster at 100. The idea is a friendly, low-key ride over beautiful, challenging, and often lonely terrain. After a short spin down a flat road, the Monster shows its ugly face. The first climb of the day is a tiny, pebble-strewn lane that tilts upward at a comical degree. Within about 2 minutes of grinding slowly up this 22% beast, heart rate pegged, I get the sinking feeling that I am in way over my head. We've got 8 or 9 or 10 hours to go. We've only been riding for 10 minutes and there are already people walking. This is going to be a long day. And with this 25 on the back, I am screwed. Speaking of 25, these days I mostly ride 25mm tires, if not 26, 28, or even 30. In part, that's because they're trendy, and test bikes and sample tires show up in these plumper varieties. But also, I just find fatter tires to be more comfortable on rougher roads, and a little bit more stable and planted on sketchy descents. Being an American, I'm amazed at the narrow width of these Welsh backroads, and by narrow I mean like a single small car takes up the entire road kind of narrow. Luckily, there are hardly any cars out here, and the drivers that we do pass are super gracious. Despite my fears on the day's first climb, I've been able to drag my carcass up the steep tarmac on the 3625. On a few spots the rear tire slid out, but the Mavic tires generally held enough purchase for me to slowly leverage the bike side to side up steep pitches like the aptly named Devil's Staircase. Aside from the questionable grip, the narrow tires had me concerned about a rattling ride. I set them at 90 psi, but borrowed a pair of gloves for a little extra padding. The 3T Ergonova handlebar proved a gracious host, with the wide top distributing pressure across the palms. After years of eyeing these ergo bars suspiciously, I have to admit, I'm finally coming around on the design. With its substantial aero tubing, the Cervélo S3 would not have been my first choice for the Monster. I would have picked more of an all-rounder like the Cervélo R series bike, and with plump tires. But with all the contact points sorted and race geometry that felt like home, the bike actually feels pretty good. The stock 5236 is a great middle-of-the-road, ready-for-anything crankset. But the next time I ride the Monster, I'm coming prepared with a 28-tooth cog and some wider tires.